Today on TFL Bike, we are talking about news that just rolled over our desk. This is news about a motorcycle company called Rome Motors. And actually, they do more than motorcycles. But Alex, why don't you kick us off with what we're looking at?
Yeah, so this is an all-electric motorcycle that you see right here, and it comes from a Kenyan company, odd enough. We don't see too many motorcycles coming out of Kenya or really anywhere in that part of the world. So it's cool to see kind of a new offering in the space and a new company that's bringing a bike to market. Rome was founded in 2017, and they actually operated under a different name up until just a few days ago.
Yeah, it was Opabus.
Yeah, so if you haven't heard of Rome Motors, that's probably why. The name is brand new, but it started as a research project in Sweden. They have offices both in Sweden and Kenya, but these bikes are designed in Kenya, and a lot of them are going to be, the first ones are going to be delivered in Kenya.
But the plan is for these products supposedly to reach a global market eventually. And we heard about this company thanks to Time Magazine's 100 Most Influential Companies of 2022. So we're definitely not the only ones taking notice of what they're doing here. A lot of what Rome Motors does are conversions to gasoline vehicles. So you could take something like an old Land Cruiser, or they even do some electric conversions on buses. And they will convert them to electric, lower cost of maintenance, but now they're coming out with a particular product from the ground up, as far as we can tell, that is their own. It's this motorcycle called the Rome Air. And we'll go ahead and dive into some specs because it's a pretty impressive product just based on the specs.
Yeah, so if we're looking at range, you can basically get this bike in two configurations. It either comes with one battery or two, and those are 3.24 kilowatt hour batteries. If you go with one battery, you're going to get about a 56-mile range. And if you have the dual batteries, which you can see here, they're kind of stacked one right on top of the other, and they're pretty big battery units from the looks of it in terms of just size. You can get 112 miles if you have two batteries, and they are removable. You can see the handles on there. So theoretically, if you wanted to, or you owned a big fleet, you could swap these batteries around and keep the bikes on the road all the time. And speaking of fleet sales, that's something that's very possible with this bike. Rome says that right off the bat, they're going to be partnering with Uber to put 3,000 of these into kind of a moto taxi service. So swappable batteries sounds expensive for the consumer, but when you think about it in kind of a fleet scenario, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and especially for a fleet, the cost of operation and cost of charging is going to be limited. So it takes about 4 hours to charge each battery on a 240-volt outlet. And the cost, depending obviously on where you are, but the cost is approximately 60 cents to charge up one of those batteries. So it's less expensive than fuel, and obviously because this is electric, you eliminate a lot of parts that need maintenance in any gas-powered vehicle, any internal combustion engine. So
speaking of costs too, if you're kind of interested in more of a detailed cost breakdown, I highly suggest going on to Rome's website and going to the order page, and you can tell it how many motorcycles you currently own. You can, tell it how much you paid for those motorcycles, and it will give you a very detailed breakdown of the cost savings of one of these bikes. And I haven't seen that on any manufacturer's website. So
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Go check it out, and hopefully that'll take off and it'll be something that other manufacturers start to use too.
Yeah, and it's definitely a tool that seems pretty tailored towards fleets, because when you go in and you spec out, this is how I want my Rome Air to be spec'd, it comes up with a page that asks you, how big is your fleet? It doesn't ask, do you have a fleet of motorcycle? It says, how big is your fleet? Which, I mean, for us is actually kind of relevant. I mean, you've got 5 bikes. I think that counts as a fleet.
I actually dragged that slider all the way to the end to see how big of a fleet it would let you have. 500 bikes. That sounds like a dream.
That's a couple.
Yeah.
So more specs on the Rome Air. 56 mile per hour top speed that it can reach in a claimed 5 seconds. So it's not a high top speed, which is honestly just as well, because most of the electric motorcycles we've tested at higher speeds tend to drain their batteries pretty quickly. So most likely this is going to be more of an inner city commuter bike.
It's a small displacement equivalent. I think I saw on the Rome website,
about
150 cc.
And then you have selectable modes. So you can have eco, standard, power, sports, and reverse. I wonder what the difference between power and sports would be. But yeah, a couple different modes, including reverse. And one of the most impressive things about this bike, so the bike itself weighs just under 300 pounds, but it has a claimed payload capacity of 485 pounds. So you could load up another one of these motorcycles on the back of itself. And I mean, if you weigh, as much as we do, or even a little bit more, you could ride one of these motorcycles with one of these motorcycles on the back.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't think of that. And yeah, I mean, to have that much payload in an electric bike that you're going to use as a commuter is awesome. It's even got a little luggage rack on the back. So I think most people will throw 485 pounds on this bike. Probably not. I do like the style of this bike a lot. I think it's totally different from most of the electric bikes we see coming out, especially the affordable electric bikes. They're all going for like the Tesla Cybertruck look where they have raw aluminum and weird materials. This looks like an old school, I don't know, like a Royal Enfield or something. Yeah. It's got a classic tank shape, big round headlight, a classic windscreen up front. Even the wheels, they're like really simple 5-spoke old school wheels. So this is one of the only modern electric bikes I've seen that's kind of retro styled, and I really like it.
Yeah, kind of retro styled and very utilitarian. It looks fairly rugged. It would be interesting to see how durable, how tough that bike actually is. But part of it being a utilitarian machine, its tank has built-in storage, so obviously it doesn't have a gas tank. That's just a storage bin. There's also a USB, so you can charge up a device from the bike. And really, the coolest thing about this bike is the price. Yeah. It starts at $1,500.
$1,500, yeah, that'll get you the single battery model, and $2,050 for the dual battery model, which it's hard to imagine how it's that affordable. I would imagine maybe if it comes to the US, it's going to get a little more expensive due to shipping and, just the cost of getting it here. But even still, that is a crazy price for a brand new electric powered two-wheeled vehicle that can go 112 miles on a single charge.
Yeah, and again, it'll be interesting to see if they do bring this to the U.S. Something else that you can spec on the bike is for an extra $500, you can get what they call the limited production series, which would get you your bike supposedly in late 2022. So it seems like they're stepping on the gas to get these built and begin delivering these models soon. They say mass deliveries will start in 2023.
Yeah, I totally agree. The price is super impressive. I mean, that single battery model is cheaper than a Honda Navi, which, I mean, looking at these two, yeah, I'd take this over a Navi just looking at it, I think. Like I said, I would expect it to get a little more expensive in the US just because of the costs of getting it overseas and getting it here. But still, it's not like this is going to be a $10,000 bike if it's $1,500 in Africa. So yeah, stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, hopefully they make it to the U.S. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. And also be sure to check out alltfl.com. That's where the rest of our coverage for everything from cars to trucks and...
I just have one more question for the viewers before you close this out. Now that we're talking about electric motorcycles too in this video, I'm just curious if any of you have ordered the Sondor's Metacycle and have any sort of status update on when that's being delivered. I saw some news articles this week that they were finally starting to ship out. So if you got an email saying that yours is on the way and you know some information, we'd love to hear it. Also, if you're local and you are going to be getting one soon, we'd love to make a video on it, do a little Dude, I Love My Ride. So
absolutely. So shoot us an email at ask@tfltruck.com, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.